afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda Hero Strike Defender of the Fatherland, off here to an exciting 1 vs 1, straight from the GCS2 tournament here, somewhere on the Eastern Front, 1944, in the great big push to the bus Operation Bagration. In the north, we got Creativename, fighting here for the Soviet Union, Socialism, Comrade Stalin, and the 7th Tank Corps in the south, we got Luvnest, fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland, fighting here for the 1st Panzer Division. We got Guard Motor, Mechanized supporting Guard Rifle, with Guardsmen and Penal Tool Bulletins versus Mobile Defense Mechanized Osttruppen, with Infantry and Machine Gun Bulletins here for Luvnest, with the Pioneer MG42 Grenadier build versus Dublin units into Penal Troopers here for Creativename. Both players, by the way, are from Germany. I actually thought Creativename was from France for some reason, but apparently he's from Germany. I don't know why I thought he was from France. Well, I guess it's just the whole creative name, just, it doesn't seem like a very German thing to call yourself, Anyways, MD42 sitting out there for Luvnest. He's going out for a bit of a broader approach here. Could be a bit risky then again versus a penal to start there, which of course is what Luvnest could be anticipating for the Soviet player. They are getting very popular. More broader approach could be effective, since overall such a start there from the Soviets usually leaves them a bit weak on map control, so you can push a bit more, plus you're less likely to just get swarmed by infantry compared to if they go for heavy contact build, in which case playing out like this is usually a bit of a bad thing. And these Grenadiers advancing in the west, Pioneers going in there, sandbags up as well to defend the fuel point from any Russian marauders. Machine gun gewehr being cut, well, not cut, but hold to the centre of the victory point, but there you go, sets up instead here to cover the area here. Grenadiers grabbing the munitions, more Grenadiers out here for Luvnest. And the penal there'll be more out in the way for Creative. They could go for a sniper here. Some players go for sniper right after the engineers and get the Spitfire count up. Others go for penal troopers, then maybe a sniper, and some, consider scout cars. The engineers are getting suppressed by the MG42. Pioneers holding up here. Strafniki with their SPT-40 semi-automatic rifles laying down a deadly volley there. Grenadiers switching towards the cutoff point here. Instead of looking to engage in a Creative head on there, he's just looking to harass and denying resources, forcing him to react instead to his movements. Second penal troop squad, they're almost done for Creative as Luvnest is going for the 3rd Grenadier squad. Strafniki falling back. They should probably try to find another place to engage from, because right here, Luvnest obviously going to bring up a lot of firepower, and the penal troop is just not going to work out in that, particularly as the MU42. So he's just going to fall back. If we got the penal troop Grenadiers here, that's, I think, a better spot to attack into. Of course, they'll still have to briefly cross some negative cover, but as the Grenadiers repositioned, the Strafniki could close in more easily. So right here we can see Luvnest got the west side pretty hard locked down. He captures the central cut-off point here. Heavy automatic fire there, or semi-automatic fire there from his troops. Luvnest, if he goes for a sniper to try and deal with machine gun, or he's going to go for a scout car to rush the terrain here with the Grenadiers, makes that a less than amazing task, since it's going to be much easier for the Grenadiers to intercept any scout cars with a Panzerfaust. So either sniper or infantry here from Creative seems more likely. It is interesting to note he's actually gone from mechanized support tactics here. Most players, whenever I saw them this, usually had like Guard Motor, Guard Rifle, and then usually Armoured Assault, which is much more popular. Mechanized, of course, and then means he's got all 3 Guard doctrines in that sense, so you can sort of, in that sense, leave his opponents a bit more guessing. Though you really don't see the RSU-152 a lot there in 1 vs 1s. But a sniper on the way there probably help counter the sniper, in particular on a map like this. Not the sniper, the MB42. In particular on a map like this, using a sniper to clear out that machine gun is probably again a bit more useful. Though of course you could try and tech for a mortar. Luvnest here deciding to ignore the penal to just go for the car point again, force them to leave the positions to attack into him. Smart move there by Luvnest. Grenadiers are about to get cut to ribbons by the Grenadiers. We've got flame from coming up as well there. Grenadiers though manage to once more cut off the fuel there for Creative. Luvnest keeps up pressure and aggression. He's got the momentum and he's going to use the sniper there as revealed. 1 kill so far there. Poor Jurgen took a bullet there for the fatherland. Right through the skull. Penals are defending the fuel point here from any sort of interdiction moves there by Luvnest. Grenadiers moving up here. And there you go, Flamethrowers forcefully sending Luvnest Grenadiers scurrying back towards the base. Luvnest here has tagged up, though we got no bunker up. He could go for that, and of course like the mechanized company. He's reinforcing. And penalties are trying to go for the fuel point are immediately halted here by the MD42, manned by some plucky gunners. Normally they wouldn't be equipped with submachine guns. They'd usually, in fact, not really have any weapons, so maybe pistols, maybe a rifle, something like that. since most of the munitions was meant to go towards the MG42, so they weren't really meant to like fight that way. Fun fact. The engineers standing about here, sniper roaming about. The Soviets had a lot of snipers, they put a lot of effort into them. So did the Germans, but I don't think quite as on the same level as the Soviets. Compared to the Americans, did not actually have any snipers in the Second World War. They didn't train them, had marksmen, but they did not have actually snipers. So that's a little fun fact there. It's why companies one actually did it kind of wrong, since the Americans did not have snipers. We got a half-track on the weather for Luvnest. Light's going to be the Flampanzerwagen, the 251 with the flamethrowers. Snipers there getting another kill on the Grenadiers. A lot of players, well some players at least, go for the flamethrower half-track to just counter the snipers, since they can usually do the job quite well. And can also deal with infantry. Of course, it does leave you more open to vehicles. But Creativename something about the Gart motor, very popular pick, by the way. In the tournament, from what I saw. Again, flexible, strong, has tanks, guardsmen, and heavy mortars if you need them. Plus marked vehicles and repair training. Like, that's a lot of good stuff there. Flamethrower half-track there, slowly being upgraded. M240 precision engineers going in there with their own flamethrowers. And going to use with support from the half-track, not engaging engineers there. Not a good position for Creativename. Well, I believe it's going to go for guardsmen here, though. Of course, guardsmen as a flamethrower half-track is not necessarily going to be a straightforward engagement, since a flamethrower half-track can do a lot of damage very fast to infantry that's trying to shoot it with anti-tank rifles. This is kind of, to an extent, conscripts and the anti-tank units will be helpful there versus the flamethrower half-track. But there we go. You can call in the guardsmen now. You could theoretically try and tech, but that's not going to be too efficient. Nothing's going to happen soon enough, anyways. Except as maybe he tries to rush to the half-track and give it the quad AA mount. That could work, but it's a very rare to see move. But it is an option. Triple Grenadiers stopping for true there for Luvnest. Very, I would say, solid force composition. Nice to play aggressively. We can also quickly be shifted over to the defensive using the machine guns. So again, very sort of good force composition. Their sniper, they're bleeding away. 5 kills so far on the fascists. Flamethrower half-track moving in. Guardsmen are ramming here. No DP light machine guns, might be setting up munitions for anti-tank rifles on the other troops to increase the amount of damage he can lay down on the flamethrower half-track wherever humanly possible. Bunker up there for Luvnest. Engineers going for the center victory point. Guardsmen are going for the flamethrower half-track, and they're getting slightly scorched. Sergei gets a bit of a dan. Six kills, that's going to be 7 kills. Fritz dead. His skull punctured with a round straight through an eye socket. Pimps is moving down this west side. They might try and hit the fuel point again, though with machine guns nearby to get a bit tricky. More guardsmen out here for Creativename. Lots of guardsmen can be quite impactful, but once you get an upgrade like machine guns, they can take out infantry, and a lot of vehicles even threaten medium armor to a decent degree if you know how to use them. So guardsmen setting up, their DP light machine guns almost done, running up the west side with the penal troopers and the engineers. Strafniki, they need to be a bit careful. He might even be trying to bait it in there so the guardsmen can more easily get behind the flamethrower half-track, since it's going to have a bit of a hard time getting in there and turning around, but also gives the guardsmen more time to shoot it and maybe take it out. On the west, the engineer stopped. And there you go, flamethrower half-track in the fight for the guardsmen. But he got the penal troopers there, big loss there for Creativename, and he wasn't able to get the flamethrower half-track either. So that did not really work out too well there for Creativename and the 7th Tank Corps. First Panzer Division continued onwards. Guardsmen quickly moving ahead rapidly, need to get into cover there against the MD42. This is where heavy mortar would be actually quite helpful for Creativename, flashing up machine guns and support them instead of the Luvnest map setting up. Plus smoke screens doesn't hurt either. And there you go, Guardsmen simply overwhelmed by the sheer amount of firepower here that Luvnest has in the area. The MD42 plus the Grenadiers represents quite a bit. And take over there for Creativename. Just going to likely go for the T-70 to try and deal with the flame for half-take. And Luvnest is actually deviating a bit from what is usually seen here. He's actually going for a 3rd MD42, which is quite interesting. You'd figure he'd go for that like if his opponent has like a ton of infantry, but Creativename doesn't exactly have a lot. And certainly I don't feel like enough to warrant 3 MD42s. It just feels highly irregular. I mean, it's not bad, but you just... like, at this stage of the match, you just really do not see anyone building 3 machine guns, not from the Wehrmacht. Unless they're like going for tier 2 rush, in which case they might, go for 3 machine guns early on, but otherwise, like, if they're not doing that, That is incredibly irregular now. Got another wipe there with the flame for a half track. A lack of mines, so it makes it easier for Luvnest to aggressively pursue retreating units with it. Creativname might be slightly misjudging the potency of the Flampanzerwagen there. Engineer setting up here, sniper sneaking about, 10 kills so far for Creativname there. Kills wise already, we can see they're actually reasonably able to keep pace. The flame for half track is really just gobbling up whatever lead their Creativname had and just adding to it. T-Sim the way, though, should help swing the game around here versus Luvnest. Again, note he's been laying down telemines as anything that's been going on. Expecting, of course, a light vehicular candidate that's going to try and rush in there, in which case telebites, of course, are a really strong choice. Sniping their games because they're going to. We could see what? We could see, but no, gets away. In fact, the MD42 ends up being able to cover the trees and grenadiers. Flame for engineer strikes, or half-track strikes in the west, supported by the MD42. T7 is almost done there for Creativname. We are moments away from it in the east, and you stopped by the other MD40. And he's got pretty much all victory points being covered by an MD42. I mean, that's an interesting tactic to go for, just covering every single victory point with a machine gun. I mean, it's not something you usually see, and again, versus a sort of more aggressive conscript build, I probably wouldn't recommend it, but versus, you know, slower, so say, elite infantry build, which is essentially what Creativname is relying on. I mean, having a lot of machine guns just covering the points could, in theory, be effective, though I'd still only recommend if your opponent's got a lot of infantry playing it, like, hyper-aggressively. And even then, I wouldn't recommend just stuffing them out of the way where they want to. But Luvnest, they're going for mobile defense. Rather, shall we say, standard choice. They're a meta choice when you're sort of caught a bit off guard here by enemy-like armor. You need this with sniper support here in the east. Luvnest only getting a lot of fuel here. Creativname sending something Creativname needs to work on. He also needs more infantry again. He needs so much infantry. We also get S-mines down here from Luvnest. Good work there mining and just been missing it. Skirmish continue. There we go. We got the Puma on the way there for Luvnest at 234-2. And there you go. Pack 40 lands next to him. The T-Sim frontal armor. He's going to try and flank it. Maybe no. Pulls away. Good idea there since the Puma's inbound. He might just be hanging out. Of course, Creativname might of course be realizing, hang on, my opponent's got mobile teams like to go for it. Oh, got the half track all the way over here. Mine went off. Good work mining by Creativname. Couldn't even get the MD42, which ended up big, though he wouldn't be able to steal it. But still, didn't. Got there covering up the T70. Very good. They're very good. If he can get away. Oh no, doesn't have it. Oh, snot biscuits. And the T70 goes down. That's a nasty loss there for Creativname, though. Luvnest Puma good. Nah, he's going to get away. He's going to get away, sadly. Bad luck there for Creativname. A big tactical win there for Luvnest. They did still lose the Flamethrower, and that's kind of big there for Creativname, so the Flamethrower is just doing so much damage to his infantry. There we go, more guardsmen out. He needs to replace those losses. He only needs to push harder back against Luvnest. He needs to put some pressure on. He needs to increase it forcefully against Luvnest and the 1st Panzer Division. Back here, repairs going on. Puma there being fixed up. And Sniper continues to bleed away. This being assaulted by engineers and Strafni. We've got the M42 down here covering the victory point, or at least attempting to, with varying degrees of success. And there go nice use of incendiary piercing rounds. In the bracket I was covering, Luvnest was probably, I think, the only player who sort of consistently used the incendiary piercing rounds on the MD42s. A lot of other players tend to, I think, like, neglect them, but they are pretty good if you know how to use them. I mean, they're not just for, you know, shooting up like vehicles, they're for shooting up infantry pretty well as well. Like, they get an overall damage bonus, meaning you can just use them to, you know, really do some damage to infantry, particularly with the high levels of veterans. They become quite potent. So we'll see what Creativname goes for here. He needs to get the fuel, though. He also needs to, you know, somehow slow down Luvnest's plan here, because Luvnest is speeding ahead, and he can soon in fact be taking out. If he hasn't already, he hasn't. It's just the only way for Creativname. He's obviously anticipating tech. We got mines down there, good spot by Creativname. And Puma there being held back by the guard squad. DP light machine guns there. The DP light machine gun was not a particularly popular light machine. I believe the magazine has a tendency to be a bit wonky, though in other ways it was apparently a really reliable light machine. It was just in other ways not very good. MG42 being caught out in the open here. Guardsman falling back. Sniper creeping about here. Close to Veteran 2 already. Very good work there by Creativename. Guardsmen need to fall back. And Pioneers advancing with the Minesweepers. Straight into the Guardsmen, who are quickly suppressed by the MG42, using it to cover the attack. Very good. 17, and we got the Sis-3 out here. Grenade off the Pioneers. Almost got a wipe, but sadly not actually succeeding, meaning that's still not the best grenade there for Creativename considering the current circumstances. They go push into the east, continues moving up the light machine guns. So close to 52, but also in a slightly sticky position. They get caught by the Grenadiers, they could very well end up dead. Whoops. Caught up with the minimap there around just at the wrong spot. And there you go, field gun being created by double light machine guns, Grenadiers repulsed. Got the Guardsmen moving in close with 2 troops here healing and forcing, and mines going off there, killing several Grenadiers. And Luvnest here going for a sniper of his own, an interesting choice. You don't see a lot of players who will actually willingly go for a sniper at this stage when they haven't gone for one before, like Chino's replaced a sniper before that. I think Luvnest is also one of the few players who does it, if we're not the only one. So, fun fact there. More mines from Creativename. Shifting about things. Got the Puma falling back close to Veteran 1 here in the centre of the Guardsman advance, and timing there well with the intended armor piercing around to the open up, cuts down the Guardsman. Technically that was probably not standard ammunition for German machine guns. I think they sort of nabbed it from aircraft stuff, whether they could sort of nab it. Little fun fact there. I believe they did have sort of armor piercing rounds for the MG42, at least their sort of tripod version. Oh, it's the only sort of other type of ammunition they had. They were training rounds, bullets made out of wood, which they used in Normandy. Grenadiers moving up, Pimson flanked up, Puma moving about, close to Veteran 1. Got that Puma moving in, providing coming fire here. Creativename though making a decent push here. In fact, he's making a big push. He's committing most of his force here, leaving the east side open, even here open, but he needs to sort of, make some counter efforts. Sniper waiting here for the Russian sniper to reveal herself and then put an end. Mines going down here, mechanized armor company up. He's going to try and push out medium armor, whereas Luvnest is not teching. Oh dear. Luvnest, he might be getting a bit too comfortable or too caught up in things, which could give Creativename here a chance to sort of swing things back if he gets out of medium tank before Luvnest. That is definitely not good for Luvnest. In particular, when he's also planning going for tier 3, the Supremo call, and Creativename has a T-55 up. That's going to make things very difficult for the Panther for anything else. Going to do this easy targets for the Guardsmen. Lots of deep light machine guns, they can just cut them to ribbons in a matter of seconds plus. The sniper in there, go Luvnest, sniper reveals himself and misses pretty much, removing now any element of surprise. To be a command tank out for Luvnest, the Befehls Panzerwagen. Bold move there. I mean, it does add more pressure now versus Creativename, but it fails to get any sort of serious damage done here. It's going to leave him quite in a vulnerable position then once Creativename gets out the T-45 here, so we'll have to see if he can actually do the job with it. And right now it's offering a lot of damage to the Guardsmen, even the field gun here. MG42 setting up here in the west, engineers falling back. And we got some skirmishing with the maximum out there, noting about he's teched pretty much every structure here out of nowhere. Pushing for the east, which is actually a very good move. I mean, Luvnest now moving towards the centre west in terms of attention, so heading the eastern side where he is not quite paying attention right now is a good move. And there you go, mine again, Fritz Ludwig blown to bits. Field gunning down, it repairs troops here and reinforcing. He could try and push out in T-34 from 6 just to have something up on the field faster. But I think more likely he's just going to go for the T-35, particularly with the Puma, which can sort of deal with it, though. In the actual war, would actually perform poorly since it had the exact same gun as the Panzer III, and they stopped producing the Panzer III because its gun was not very good as the T-34s. So, little fun fact about that. Ooh, almost got an MG42 wipe, but once more, Luvnest has the devil's own luck there. Puma strikes though, fires the main gun, the cracks on the machine gun. Command tank creeping up there. Pretty risky move there by Luvnest. I mean, it's low on health. I mean, one wrong move with just a few good shots there from Creativename, and that thing could be in flames, costing Luvnest the resource there, and of course leaving himself more vulnerable as he then either goes for another command tank to just fill out the gaps, or try to take a hit, which he still hasn't. MG42 sniper here, Puma moving in, field gun, bombarding, and close hit there on the sniper, close hit. Guy's been pinned down to the ground. Getting a bit lucky there, getting a bit lucky. Might try and intend the option as the field gun. It's actually really good at clearing out support weapons, particularly stuff like anti-tank, and can very quickly find themselves cleared out since they don't get to press, meaning the machine gun will do full damage all the time. That means you can do some serious damage to like stuff like field guns or anti-tank guns in general. It's a little fun fact there. Creating in there, getting ever close to the Puma. Luvnest, I think, is actually taking out now, which is good. Grenades being pushed back. Sniper there with 24 kills. 1 kill for Luvnest. Sharpshooter, or sniper. More expensive for Luvnest, moving ahead and just mining up stuff to make it harder there for Creativame to advance. Sneaky, and caught the machine here with the peel chip in a really bad spot. He's not, I think, likely to get a wipe then, as he gets somehow supremely lucky, which seems unlikely, particularly with the command tank nearby. But even then, does leave Luvnest's west flank a bit more open, a bit more vulnerable, even if there's the command tank to plug the gap for now. Bloody fascists, always mining things. Why do they have to be like that? Probably because they don't want us to go there, Dimitri. I mean, that's why we mine things too. There we go, into the armor piercing runs again. And there we go, T-35 on the way. Then Luvnest is then going to be in for a bit of a potential rougher ride, depending on how he responds to it, and of course how Creativame makes use of his T-45. Poor usage will of course be costly, but on the other hand, good use of the T-45 and perhaps a not too efficient response from Luvnest could very well give them out, so their abilities really just push the game against Luvnest. Luvnest still not building the support core. Is he planning Tier 4? Not by the looks of it. Some players will do that with mobile defense. But to be honest, if you get the heavy pants probably sooner. Mine's being swept up, but holded by the MG42 and the German sniper. 5 kills there. And there you go, T-34, 85 ramming here for Creativame and the 7th Tank Corps. Speeding ahead with its 85mm gun, adopted from a Soviet anti-aircraft gun, as a fun fact. $27 kills. Getting reinforcement. Still no support core for Luvnest. We got more telemods down there, by the way. Slightly awkward moving there with the T-45. Gets hit there by the PaK-40. Punches through the frontal armor easily. And Gunny's being pushed back there by the T-45. Alright, Luvnest here, passively feeling a bit pressured, is seemingly ready to commit. The Puma, despite not being, well, repaired at all, still at half health or so. Might be a pretty ambitious move there, but Luvnest could also cost from the Puma, which would then further give Creativame freedom on the field, in particular his tanks. Meanwhile, Creativame is going for another maximum. Surprise, he's not going for the heavy mortars to counter all of these machine guns. I mean, his opponent's got 3 MG42s. A heavy mortar would be amazing. Just decides to bomb them, just lay down smoke screens to make them harder to shoot at his infantry with. So I mean, him going for another maximum seems a bit weird when a heavy mortar would be such a much better choice. It's just a couple of regular mortars. Got the point here in the south. You got the info to carry the western victory point. T-44 they're rolling about. T-4 going for the west. Routing most of what Luvnest got there. But there you go, Pack 40 to the rescue. Luvnest is not even repairing his command tank, he's just operating his vehicular and armor pool there with no maintenance. That is kind of ambitious. Rifle grenade off. Oh, decently shot. Need to get that T. Oh, he's going to try and flank it. He's going to go for it. He's going to go for it. A bold move here, but Creativename risky as well. Like if he's caught or something like that, that could cost him the T-45 without getting the Pack 40. In this case, he just disengages. And there's stuff like the Puma, which could really punish him there. Healing enforcement. Luvnest is going straight for the heavy Panzer Corps in the end. He'll probably then go for a Panther here. But there's also the option of a Sturm Panzer, though I would recommend a Panther most likely. Oh, yeah, most likely I'll go for a Panther here because simply, I mean, it's going to be able to take on the T-45 and likely Creativename will be going for more. Guardsman versus Grenadiers. Heavy cover. Although we got the command tank heading out the situation plus more Grenadiers, the Guardsmen very wisely fall back. Fuel point wise though, Luvnest is to an extent still ahead, but they actually got the same amount of fuel. They're getting the same amount. Sniping support MG42 down to 2 men. And Luvnest a bit more off from a Panther. Hitting the fuel point there, losing the eastern fuel point. Maxim shooting out here in the center, and they're just falling back. Field gun covering up, so he's pretty much so expecting an attack here, but I don't think that's what Luvnest necessarily intends to strike. There's keeping a lot of force there as well to protect himself, you know, being pushed through there as well. Near spinal tubers, no additional mines here. Back here, healing enforcement for Creativename, and we got the Panther on the way there for Luvnest, the Panzerkampfwagen 5. Flares up there from Creativename. Look, Otto, it's fireworks! Nein, Jürgen, it's a flare, so that means they can see us. In the middle of the day. Blames the Canadians. Units being suppressed now going utterly barrage off there. Spectacularly flies off, less spectacularly hits anything. Sending the T-45 over there. Good in the command tank, he could take it out there, taking hit from the Pack 4, needs to be careful there. And, oh, pop smoke, mechanic suit. Misses just narrowly. Almost got the Panther though. Creativename might have to consider SU-5 here. And the Puma taking heavy hits there from the anti-tank rifle wielding guardsman. Landing some good hits. And got a wipe. Sniper actually bit the dust. Killed by Luvnest sniper. We finally put an end to that bit of misery. And there they are, dead. There we go. Ooh, more turn mark, more T-45 for Creativename. No, actually 5 at least response to the Panther initially. Pin my machine on the way there, taking some light damage there from the anti-tank rifle, but nothing notably big. Getting some good kills in there for Deutschland. Now this model is the Model A, which was the second most common model. The most common was actually the Model G, which went into production sort of roughly around mid-1944, I believe. It was also the most produced one, also the one with the least flaws. You can turn the Model A from basically the radiation pipes in the back, plus it actually still has a hatch for the driver on the front, which is actually moved on the Model G to overall increase the effectiveness of the frontal armour. Plus it got a better gun mantler as well, which was less likely to deflect shots into the tank's hull. In fact, couldn't. T-4 push back the Grenadiers here. Sniper there with 10 kills, not getting a lot more aggression now they put an end to the Soviet sniper. T-4 going for the MG42. He's got control of both fuel points here with Luvnest. He might be able to push out some more armor sooner here versus Luvnest. Of course, he still has to worry about the Panther. More mines, I feel I think would be a good idea here for Creativname. He hasn't been laying down a lot compared to Luvnest, who's been laying down a bunch. He's been pretty consistent about it. And there we go. Spotting here the Panther. Shot bounces, field gun bounces. They apparently managed to hit the frontal armor. And there goes getting too close. Now taking hits from the Puma. And there you go. Target wake point. Oh. So couple yachts. Max on the Dean with MD42 pushing it back. There we go. Going in here for the Grenadiers. Pack 40 covering up. And a penetrating hit. There we go. Almost got the Puma with the Gatling and field gun action. Smoke machine popped up. They tried retreat. Max and that being pushed back. Four kills in the Panther. Obviously all infantry. Still Creativname is beginning to successfully push Luvnest off a lot of the points here. Very good work. Very good work. But Luvnest still has a much larger force. But Creativname, instead of now with 2 fuel points, they're able to bring up more stuff. He's going for a regular mortar. I'm surprised he's not going for the heavy mortar here. I mean, it is obviously more expensive in some ways. Victory points wise, our population is probably the biggest one. 6 versus 10. And if obviously he wants to go for other stuff, still, I mean, a regular mortar does have some more advantages there. I mean, for those population, you could almost go for like 2 regular mortar teams over a heavy mortar. Like you're only paying 2 population more. And would certainly get a lot of firepower the same way as well anyways. You can soon go for 30, 35, though at this stage I think you should certainly HD5 support them. A Barton pushing back the machine gun there. Need to cover around the Pack 40 though. Particularly when you got no supporting units, you got a mine X-Wing obviously did mine out a bit more there, very good, very good. Panther is slowly moving westwards. Other T-5 coming in, if you can get the Pack 40, that'd be pretty good here for Creativname. It looks like not to be happening, got the Panther there intervening. With its high velocity surviving the gun. Pack 40 they're almost done, he continues to hit them with the T-55s there, he's continuing ahead. Penetrating hits in the Panther tank down to half health. Good hit from the T-55 the command tank, pushing that down to half health as well. We need to cover the T-55, so you need to fall back for now. Lots of hits there, lots of hits. Moving up the centre of the Guardsman and the machine gun. Extending his grip on the front line. And we got the mortar here. Probably could stand to move a bit further close to the front line here to provide more direct support against Luvnest, who's immediately into working on the Panther. But with only 1 Pioneer squad and all these vehicles, I mean, it's going to be a bit inefficient for Luvnest, to be honest. I do think you should be going for at least 1 more Pioneer squad to repair stuff, because it does mean he's got a lot of downtime for his vehicles compared to Creativname's got 2 Engineer squads, but also self-repair. That way speed up the repairs as much as possible. So I mean in that regard Creativname has a definite advantage then be able to just keep his tanks on the front line much more consistently compared to Luvnest. And as of course he starts to throw his tanks, I mean if they're dead they're not on the field, but there you go. Got the command tank, denying some support there for Luvnest. Penetrating hit on the command tank then further down, and we got a Panther there for now for Luvnest. He's going to try and clear out here Creativname support weapons. And we got the other one moving up there close to it too. Moving ahead, this is 3. Not so good set over there. Good hit on the Panther though, good hit. But there you go, target weak point stands it up, allowing the Panther to just get away. So close in, he's going to likely end up losing. Oh, field gun shoots, gets one of the counters, but in the end, the T-55 down, a bit of him support would have made a bigger difference there for Creativname, to be honest. So unfortunate there for Creativname. Why did he just, just pull back in time? He would have lost the T-55 without getting the Panther. Got the Panther over there for Luvnest. Mortar firing down. Fixing up the T-45. And we got the Panther there firing away. Not really making much of an impression. I mean, doing some damage, suppressing troops, forcing retreats, but it's not really getting any kills. I mean, in terms of like actual damage to Creativename, it's not that big. I mean, it's not forced to expend manpower on the replacement. In fact, just go for another T-34. 85. You probably would have benefited again from having a third then. So in this regard, the through-field Creativename's been a bit just on building up its armed force after the second. This is going to have probably an opportunity to just destroy the Panther entirely. I mean, had there been another one here, again, Destination 5, I'm reasonably sure the Panther would not have survived.
The enemy is taking our territory.
Attempted flank is thwarted by the snub and incendiary armor or explosive round. And casualty being inflicted here on Luvnest somewhere. T45 number 2 almost done. Luvnest is going to take some time to get his Panther fixed up, seeing as he's only got one Pioneer squad to do the job. Machine gun stopping up here. I mean, Luvnest has been definitely doing quite good work here with the MD42s. I mean, you rarely get to see someone go for 3 heavy machine gun teams like that, but Luvnest did it, and they've been doing pretty well here, and it's probably also been something they Creativename have been struggling with, because most players just never go for more like than 1. Few will go for 2, and like barely anyone goes for 3 like this. And in this regard, I do feel like Creativename's one of his big mistakes was just not going for heavy mortar very fast, and just going to begin bombarding them out, easily just laying down smoke screens. In fact, he hasn't been laying down any smoke, and he hasn't been bombarding much with the mortar once he got it, so I do feel like there's probably some room for improvement there for Creativename for future fights. Straight into the Pack 40. What is? Oh, it's fine from over there. Very nice work. And almost got the T for father one going here for the Panther, but A unsupported is a bad idea. And of course he doesn't know, but there's also tell him, I mean, if he charged forward to that, he would have lost it. And there you go, Incendiary was making incredibly short work of the field gun here in the west. Again, good work by Luvnest then using the Incendiary armor field gun. Really neglected ability. Along tightly with counter-attack tactics, which sadly Luvnest has not been making use of comparatively. Destroying the field gun, he doesn't want any of that Russian scheiße. Don't touch that field gun, Otto. You might get syphilis. How? I don't know. That's just how socialism works. Specifically communism, they just share everything, including the syphilis. It's bad. Tifo then pushing back the Grenadiers, leaving them in a pretty awkward spot there. Panther halfway to victory, bit of a problem there for Creativename. $15 kills. Starts running up, the 8 kills maximum to go out the centre victory point. Creativename got plenty of fuel, though he's a bit short of manpower. He's taking a lot of, I think, unnecessary catches. The way he's attacking Luvnest now. He might be trying to get a bit desperate here, and that gives, I think, Luvnest more opportunity to then punish Creativename because of all these mistakes. Oh, mine's good. Another Panther level barrage here, probably to silence the mortar. And we got a steer up parts for Luvnest to possibly try and finish this off with. Not badly at all. Ooh, T-Field not proper repair. It's going to get Panther faster down its engine. Bad news there for Creativename. Great for Luvnest. There you go, moves in with the Panther to finish it off, and he's got no immediate support there. Creativename to fight off Luvnest Panther to service T-35. His vets need 2 T-35 for that. Which just makes it kind of worse. Good hit there, Panther gains Veteran 2. He's trying to flank here with the Silver Pack 40 car in the flank. In fact, it's a Veteran 3 pack. T-5 goes down. There we go, flanked. Nice hit. Not enough munitions for a marked vehicle. I think Creativename here might be extending his luck. They'll just be getting a bit desperate. And there you go, T-5 down. And with that, Creativename surrenders. A victory here for Luvnest. A victory for the German army. Overall, good play here by Luvnest, making great use of the machine guns. I think definitely a linchpin of his strategy, and also good use of the Incendiarma piercing rounds and overlooked ability there for them. And overall, just Creativename's an ability to deal with that flamethrower tech fast. Also gave Luvnest some big wins there with 2 wipes early on. That was pretty big there for Creativname. The lack of march to slow down, I think, hurt him. Alongside the special command starting just not a lot of anti-tank rifles or anything like that, so there are definitely some issues there. And they just sort of slowly moved ahead, and when Creativname did have the advantage, he just didn't really push it. Like, he only went for the 3rd tank once, lost the 2nd one, so there were some issues there for Creativename early to mid-game that sort of popped up. And whereas Luvnest, I think, played a more flawless game, he also just, again, made great use of the machine guns. And I mean, that does require deserve some attention, because again, a lot of Airmat players I feel like just don't put enough stock in the MD42, but it is a very potent weapon if you know how to use it well. So GG there to Luvnest. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. Also, big thanks to Steel Sledge for supporting the Propagandacast by donating. Very big thanks to you. I'll be off for now, but I'll be back tomorrow with another exciting episode. You're all a wonderful audience, and hope to see you all again tomorrow. Cheers.